Hey everyone, welcome back to another Casual Conversation podcast. Today I'm joined by, as always actually, my brother and Isaiah. We have a special episode for you guys. We're going to be talking about some numerous topics and things, but today we have a special guest on, and that is really cool. So we're going to hop into it.
All right, today we are joined by my lovely sister, Abigail Huerta, who is at Cannon Beach right now and who's been studying and using her gifts for a long time. Excited to learn from you, Abby.
Yeah. Hi. Thanks for letting me join.
Of course, yes. So,
first thing, we want you to tell us about about your experience in youth ministry and ministry in general. What are some things that you wish you knew going into it?
Wow. Well, I kind of grew up, I guess, on the mission field. We, some people may have heard like Isaiah talk about us being on the mission field in Romania. And so, I was 6 years old when we went and was just a missionary kid for that. But I got to help my dad with a lot of, youth ministry and helping with camps. He would, just take me everywhere. So I got to watch him and how he would minister to anyone and everyone that would talk to him in Romania. And so I kind of just looked up to that a lot of the time, of really getting outside your comfort zone and just remembering that, God's with us and he leads us and will come up in conversations, and you gotta just trust him, be like, okay, this is my focus of I love who Jesus is and what he's done for me, and I want others to know it and be able to experience the same thing. And so growing up in that, when I was 16, we came back to the States, and I graduated high school a couple years after. And so in 2015, I started helping with Westside's youth ministry with the junior hires. And that's where I got to hang out with you guys all the time.
Yeah.
You guys, that was such a blast. I remember first starting out, and at first I was really intimidated because junior hires, although they can be dorky, they're still super cool and fun. And I just wanted to be friends with everyone.
Yes.
So yeah, I started out, I was 18, and Kennedy Hawkins was on the team with us.
Mm-hmm.
Who else was there? Henny and Alex. Phil Betcher was there. Tyler Kircham. And who else was on their team? Yeah, I remember just getting kind of thrown into it. Kennedy kind of realized that I like to organize events and games, and he kind of just put me in charge of that and was like, yeah, have the freedom to do whatever you want to do, and then we'll just put it together for you. And I thrived in that, just being given the opportunity to serve and use different ideas that started coming to mind, and being able to help organize retreats. I loved doing that, and planning activities and what food we were going to eat.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. And I was like, man, this is so cool to be able to kind of work as a team and let it just be a good time for, especially you guys as junior hires, to have been able to have a fun and safe environment, to be able to learn about who Jesus is, and to really have the freedom to be invested in as well. I loved that aspect of it. So I was when I first started out with the junior hires at Westside. Let me think. What else was next? I kind of I've helped with the youth ministry, I think, for 5 years in total.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was with the junior hires up until 2000. What was it? 18, I want to say. And there was a year in 2016 to 17, I went to Ecola Bible College in Cannon Beach, which was a really awesome school that really helped me learn a lot of like foundational truths about the gospel, and really like pushed me to start asking questions myself, and like how to answer those things and what resources I could use to help in that, and also just really affirming my own faith with the Lord. Because I realized, especially, which you guys are probably experiencing this too, of like the more questions people ask about the gospel, the more questions you have as well. Like, I know the answer, but do I really know the answer, like, personally?
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, I really want to ask these questions and be able to like wrestle with them and wrestle with the Lord in that. And so I decided to do Ecola's first year school. And that's like more foundational biblical truth. And so that year I drove back and forth from Cannon Beach to Hillsborough to keep up with the junior hires, because that was like my second year doing it. And I was like, well, I just started. I don't want to leave them. So, and I love consistency, and that's like something I really value. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I'm not going to just up and leave. Mm. So I continued doing that for the year, and it was definitely challenging, but really good. Yeah, and we went on a couple of retreats that year. Mm-hmm. We had one of the winter camp. Do you guys remember that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Was that Sun River? No, different one? Different?
No,
Winter camp. Winter camp
at Eagle Fern, yeah.
Yes, sorry.
Yes.
For some reason, I still had retreats in my mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally remember that, yeah. Sure.
Yeah, that was a blast. I love doing that. Yeah, and then, like, getting to lead the girls' cabin was really fun. Yeah. And then we had camps all that summer, which was really good. With Ecola, we have a program called Summer Ministry Team, and I signed up to go with them, and it was 7 weeks at 7 different camps, and it was like...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, counseling for each of them.
7 different
either
weeks,
for junior hires or high school students.
7 weeks, 7 different camps.
Whoa. That's crazy.
Okay.
Wow.
It was like all over the West Coast. So we went up to Washington and then down up to like Northern California area.
Mm-hmm.
And what year was this again?
That was in 2017.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, 2017.
So cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot back to back.
Yeah, it was exhausting, super challenging. I was definitely an emotional wreck, I think, by the end of it. there was a lot of good and there was a lot of struggle, just because trying to adapt to new camps and like their way of doing things, as well as like you're taking care of a cabin of like campers that you've never met before, and like you just have 1 week to really like love on them and show them Christ's love and teach them what you know, and like in the hopes that you're like planting seeds and like maybe they'll latch onto it at the end of the week, but in the end like they're the Lord's and you still have to trust him with it.
So that's a bunch of different camps in different locations around the West Coast, so I bet it's pretty hard having to realize that you're probably not going to see those kids unless there's a way of, communicating after camp, like sharing emails or whatever. So I bet that was tough in the sense that you only had that week to be in their lives, potentially. So there's an importance, on, the emotions that happen after that, right? So how did you
handle that? Yeah.
How did I handle it? Oh boy. Well, it took a lot of prayer. I had a really good team with me that we spent a lot of time, like on the weekends when we were driving to the next camp, we'd kind of debrief about each camp, and we just talk about, like what ways we were blessed and what ways were like really hard, and like what campers you felt like you had the most impact on, and then we'd pray together on it and just really entrust those campers to the Lord and just like hope and pray that we see them in heaven one day, or maybe like later on earth. You never know.
Yeah. It's so cool how it really is the Lord's work. Yeah.
Oh yeah, hands down. And it's such an honor to be able to be a part of it. Like, I think sometimes it can be so taken for granted that like these opportunities are given, but not everybody gets to do that. And so I don't know, it's definitely an honor to get to serve the Lord in that way.
You mentioned earlier how you got to work with a lot of different types of kids who, of course, you'd never met before. What have you learned from all the unique qualities of each different kid? You don't have to go through all of them, of course.
There's one kid named Betty. No, I'm just kidding.
Starting off with the A's and then go to the Z's.
Yeah, but what are some things you've learned from working with all these different types of people?
Things that I learned from them, I think a big thing would be just patience and getting to know like who they are, and just remembering that they are an image bearer of the Lord. I think being able to get to know people through the lens of Jesus and just loving on them is really cool. Like, I got to learn so many different perspectives. Like, there are kids from so many different backgrounds with like really great parents to really horrible parents to like never even knowing their parents. You know, there are a lot of different people out there and they all have a story. And I think sometimes we forget to realize that, because like we know our story and we'll usually know the people closest to us story, but it's really important to get to know everyone else and not just assume things about them.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for people who are just coming into the
youth
ministry scene? Yeah. Like us, we're just getting started in leading in power soon.
Yes, in our youth ministry. Yes. Yeah.
I'm so excited for you guys. You guys are going to do so awesome. Like, even just having this, I'm so proud of all of you guys. I think the biggest thing would just, like, make the focus the main focus. Like, you're going in there to, like, ultimately put students' hands into the hands of Jesus, right? So you're there as ambassadors. Like, God created you uniquely to represent him and to just love. And so I think just remembering to still be yourself and be authentic. We still struggle and we still, like, we're not perfect. We're not supposed to be perfect. Mm-hmm. That's why Jesus came, you know? And I think just being able to come alongside other students and just being honest and authentic with them, I think that will speak louder than anything else.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Tell us a little bit about your experience on mission trips and what it's like to be in the mission field. I've never gone alone. I've gone with my parents, with our parents. So tell us a bit about that.
Yes, Isaiah. I think she would know that.
No, that's completely new information for her.
Well, like I said before, like, I got to spend a lot of time watching my dad and my mom and just really investing in people and just doing life with others in a way that's just very servant-like and very selfless. With Ecola, I got to go to Haiti for 10 days, and I got to work in a preschool there and teaching English and helping with crafts. Went with a pretty cool team, and we were there just to kind of help the missionaries that were already there who just needed help with their program for the summer. And so we went and got to do that. I think there's definitely a difference between like long-term missions and then short-term mission.
Yeah.
I would say long-term would definitely be more in the 2+ years. And then short-term is definitely like the 10 days to 3 months range. And I think the short-term missions, I think, will usually be more life-changing for the ones going than to the ones that are being like ministered to.
Oh, okay.
That tends to be kind of like, in my experience, that's usually how it has gone.
That
like, yes, you're still helping out on the mission field, and it's like your purpose is to share Christ, and that happens. But it's also kind of like camp, where you just have that week, and you try to pour out as much as you can, but you're also just hoping that seeds are planted, and that they're able to grasp a little bit of like what Christ is like. And that hopefully they'll like reach out later on with more questions. But if that doesn't happen, you also are just challenged as the one going to really trust God with what you're doing. So for the short term, it's definitely more life-changing because you're also experiencing a whole new culture, and then you're leaving it. Like, it's very quick. So after Haiti, I really enjoyed working with preschoolers, and after that summer, this was also in 2017, so I had gone to Haiti, and then I went to the summer mission teams, and then I wasn't sure what I was going to do next, and was offered a job in Poland as a preschool English immersion teacher, and so that was also a leap of faith. I think I was really riding the high of, wow, God, I trust you with everything. It's all going to work out. Every little decision, like, this is it. This will be great. I know you'll provide everything. And so I just, like, spent the rest of the money I had to buy a plane ticket to Poland, and I was like, God will provide. And he did. He did. Don't get me wrong, he did. But it was definitely very challenging and hard to go on my own as well. I went to live with a missionary family that we had known through the organization that my family went with to Romania with CMML, Christian Mission in Many Lands. So I went and helped at the preschool there, and I stayed there for 6 months. And it was very lonely. I don't speak Polish, so there was a bit of a language barrier.
Oh, there was one word that you knew beforehand. Usta.
Thank you, VeggieTales. Yes. But it was still really good. I again just had to keep the main focus of, okay, I am obeying God in that, I trusted that he wanted me to come to Poland. I put my all into it. And so I was like, I just need to get to know these preschoolers. I need to get to know their parents and love them and get to know like who they are. It was a little difficult just because there weren't a lot of people that wanted to get to know me in that way. And so I think that would be like the most challenging part. And what I would recommend highly is going with a team, or going like with an organization that will set you up with a team if you're interested in missions. Because having that accountability and encouragement, I think, will help deter you from depression. So coming back, it was a lot. A big change, just realizing that I can be alone. Like, it will be hard, but like God is still there, and he is my rock. And so I definitely needed that to affirm that, okay, God, no matter where I am, like, even as a single woman, like, in her 20s, like, God is still my foundation and my contentment and where I can find all satisfaction. And trusting him in all of that, I think really helped shape my faith and has helped me guide others in that as well. So, yeah, that's kind of like most of the mission trips I've done. I've done a lot more like camp ministry and then like working more with youth group here in Oregon.
Yeah. Well, the time on the missions field is very encouraging, the things you had to say. It's that takes a lot of strength and courage, and obviously prayer, and there's going to be times where there's, burnout is possibly around the corner, and so there's just so much, so that's just,
it's awesome
inspiring.
how you've relied on God through all of it.
Very, very inspiring.
Something that I've been really encouraged by you with is how you can always find an opportunity to be mission minded, and I think that's something that a lot of people don't know how to do that. So, what do you recommend for someone who wants to be sharing the gospel and wants to be supporting ministry but doesn't really know where to start?
You just gotta do it. I think it starts on your knees. Really just telling the Lord, like, hey God, I want to be on mission for you. I like have this deep burning and desire to reach others who don't know you, but I just don't know where to start. I don't know how to start. Like, Lord, lead me and show me the way. And I think just sitting in that for a little bit and like refocusing on like why you're wanting to be in ministry is so important. So that I would say would be the first step. And then after that, asking for counsel from people that you love and trust, and from other believers, especially those who maybe you've worked with or have seen you grow in your faith, maybe asking them like, what strengths do you see in me that I could use to further the gospel? Like, what are some things that you love to do, like your passions? Like, you guys, you love your graphic design and media and art and music, and you guys are utilizing this. Like, this is something that is a strength of yours that like you're using to further the gospel. Like, GoDisciple. Like, this is how you do it. You guys are doing it.
Well, thank you.
And really just like be yourself. Make sure you're having fun. It's gonna be hard and tough, but there's so much joy in remaining in the Lord and trusting that even in those tough, hard, dark seasons, he is still bright and is faithful in all things.
Yes. Yeah.
So, speaking of different strengths and stuff, what do you feel is a strength that you've been able to utilize a lot?
And that transition, though. Brilliant.
This is a masterclass podcast.
No.
So one of my strengths, as I kind of mentioned before, I love organizing like events and like mentoring and counseling. I would say I have more administrative strengths, which would like include like recognizing people's strengths and telling them like the best ways that they could use it, and also, I don't know, organizing events, things that people can do to find community in, or what else? I really just love to have fun and like to practice hospitality. I love people to feel like welcome and accepted for who they are, and to like, I don't know, feel comfortable.
Yeah.
I will refuse to have an awkward silence. I would rather embrace the awkwardness and be like, oh yeah, I meant for it to be awkward on purpose. Like, that's what makes it fun. Like, no one's gonna feel uncomfortable around me. I want to see you for who you are. So I think recognizing that and and pushing myself to build those strengths. Like I took a few administrative classes. I made sure to spend a couple years in jobs that would strengthen those things as well, like working as an office manager, working as a secretary. What else did I do? Yeah, and then like I came back for Ecola's second year program this last year, and that also was more of a leadership role in which we got to lead some of the first year students in like outreaches that they were going to be involved in. Okay. And I absolutely loved doing that. So yeah, I think realizing your strengths is great, but also remembering like you can strengthen it even more by doing things and using those things, using that strength.
That is great advice. Yeah. Because I think that a lot of people, they kind of find their gift and they just kind of sit in that when it's a good idea to, sharpen it.
And some people haven't discovered their gifts or have a hard time finding the resources to do that, because I don't really know if an online forum is really where you're going to find your spiritual gift. This is your spiritual gift. But yeah,
and exactly, like that's, again, something, if you don't know like what your gifting or strengths are, like just put yourself out there, try something new. That like anything, like you could go babysit, you could go like mow people's lawns and like see which one you prefer doing. Like, do you like to be with people? Do you not like to be with people? Like, those are some things that you gotta try and try again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on, and we love talking to you.
So going through all of this, it's just been great to hear about your life story. Obviously, we personally know you very well because of your impact on our life, so thank you for that. But also through Isaiah, of course, one of our greatest friends. So it's really encouraging for us to have people who have been there for us to be on this show, because it's, first of all, we hope that whoever is watching this and listening out there, they can benefit from you
as much as we have.
Exactly. So we really, really thank you for coming on, and it means so much to us.
Thank you guys. I love you all, and I'm so excited that you are using your gifts to further the gospel. And I also been praying over this podcast for you guys. I'm so thrilled.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So I guess that's where the episode ends, guys. Thank you for watching, and go enjoy the rest of your day. God bless.
Abby, anything to say to the rest of the crowd?
Anything to say at the very end? Do you have anything you wanna say about your life? One last thing. Plug.
One last time. Your last words.
Last words.
Just listen to God, obey what He says, and have fun. Love others, and
Okay.
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.